a version of my story and some of the stories that have shaped me. The story of how I came to be here in many different ways. I'm here because when my maternal grandfather closed his general store in Lucian, Mississippi, my grandmother decided they were going to move to the big city of Hattiesburg because they had a university there, and by golly, her kids were going to college. I'm here because my paternal grandmother, a single mom with 5 kids in tow in the Depression, decided that while she had always been a good Presbyterian, the Baptist church, which was a 1.5 mile closer walk, would do just fine. I'm here because my father was not killed in World War II like my uncle. I'm here because my mother's best friend was my father's sister. I'm here because my maternal grandfather became the male role model my father never had. I'm here because my parents experienced the life-shaking tragedy of the sudden death of my sister at age 5 to viral encephalitis. And as part of their healing, they decided to have a 3rd child, me. I'm here because my mother sang "You Are My Sunshine" to me, taught me to always do my best and then let it go. I am here because my father taught me to persevere, to never take myself too seriously, and to never miss out on the joys of life. I'm here because I spent every afternoon after school with my grandfather, helping him work in his massive garden, helping him deliver food to people in need, helping him install plumbing in his church, and at age 9, I knew I wanted what he had that enabled him to be who he was, and I made my profession of faith. I'm here because I was grounded in the faith and shaped by innumerable people at Temple Baptist Church in Hattiesburg. I'm here because I was in Sunday school and training union and RAs and Bible drill and choir and handbells and went on youth mission trips and choir tours. I'm here because when I was the only one to show up for a youth event and my youth minister did not cancel it, but instead taught me the lesson, and then we shot pool. So later when he said if I was the only one who ever lived that Jesus would have come for me, I believed him, and I still do. I'm here because my youth minister challenged us as we considered future careers, how our talents might be utilized to change the world. So when a month later a teacher said I was the best public speaker in class, I said, dang it, because being a minister was the last thing on my mind at age 15. I'm here because teachers and baseball coaches and band directors proved to me that hard work is not contrary to fun and that it can indeed pay off. I'm here because of the good work of good counselors and pastoral counselors. I'm here because on a youth mission trip between 11th and 12th grade, in the midst of a week of handing out food and doing backyard Bible clubs, 2 middle school youth from my own church that I had taught in RAs made their professions of faith, and I felt called to ministry. I'm here because professors in college would not let me get by with easy answers or an ungrounded faith or any theology that did not produce compassion and service and justice. I'm here because in college, when the Southern Baptist Convention was falling apart, causing me to consider not going into ministry, I had the good fortune of being assigned to an inner-city, interracial Methodist church where the gospel was for all and was indeed changing lives, and it restored my call. I'm here because when I then talked to that pastor about becoming a Methodist, he said to me, David, we would love to have you and I'd sponsor you in a heartbeat, but when all of this blows over, there will still be Baptists who need a minister like you. I'm here because a beautiful, talented young co-ed whom I hardly knew at the time dared to ask me out to a Sadie Hawkins dance. And I had the good sense to say yes, And then I had even more good sense to ask her to marry me 2 years to the date later after that first date. I am here because at Southern Seminary, Andy Lester awakened within me a love of pastoral care and counseling and encouraged me to pursue it. I'm here because Raymond Bailey established a standard for the preaching event and how the creative can be expressed therein that I have never forgotten. I'm here because my life was changed by youth ministry, to which I gave the first 12 years of my career, where youth and their parents taught me more than I taught them about love and grace and courage and compassion. I'm here because my friend John Stanley described preaching as art to me and preached in a rhythm that I could feel in my bones. And all of a sudden, I not only knew how to do it, but that I must do it. I'm here because Rolling Hills Baptist Church and Rivermont Avenue Baptist Church and First Baptist Memphis called me to walk with them as their pastor down each of their unique paths. I'm here because they cheered my creativity, channeled my energy, tolerated my faults, and shaped me in innumerable ways. I'm here because all the churches I have served have been progressive, thoughtful Baptist churches who are part of the Cooperative Baptist Fellowship and the Alliance of Baptists. And it has been a part within this fellowship that I have found sustaining friendship and support. I am here because I've been given an opportunity to work with peoples of all faiths and no faith, and Christians of all stripes, and have come to believe that the strengths we have in common are far more essential to our world than all the differences which are so often our focus. I'm here because Rivermont Avenue and First Memphis especially gave me the opportunity to engage my passion for racial and socioeconomic justice, and to experience from close up the need for such and the power of such for good when it comes to pass. I'm here because 3 amazing human beings, Hannah, Seth, and Micah, have given me the privilege of being their dad. Overlooking countless faults, and in so doing have drawn more strength and courage and laughter and love out of me than I ever thought possible. I'm here because since my seminary days, I've been an advocate for LGBTQ individuals and their full inclusion within the Fellowship of Faith. And I was privileged to walk with First Baptist Memphis on their journey to becoming more inclusive in many ways, including becoming fully welcoming and affirming. That stated, several years later, when it came time for me to leave First Memphis, because of that decision, the pulpits that were open to me were few and far between. I am also here because after 30 years of vocational ministry, I and my family were ready for a break. As vocational ministry is not easy and it takes its toll. You get the credit and the blame for a lot you do and a lot you do not do. You are often held responsible for a lot that you cannot prevent and for not bringing to pass the impossible, like turning back the clock to the glory days of the 60s and 70s and early 80s in church. And so in the midst of all this vocational confusion, I heard the echo of Andy Lester's voice, my professor of pastoral care and counseling at seminary, and I enrolled to pursue a degree in counseling. I'm also here because years ago, I told Leanne, one day we're going to follow you and your career and go where you feel led to go. And at that time, Anson, my son-in-law, had lost both his kidneys to a rapidly progressive disease. So Leanne wanted to get close to be available to Hannah and Anson in case they needed us. And they were living in Baltimore, and VCU was hiring, and Richmond is not too far away and has affordable housing. I am here because when I needed at least a part-time job in Richmond, our mutual friend David Burrows at Passport had the insight to tell Daniel Glaze and me both that we would be fools to pass each other up. I am also here because Leanne set the vision for us with this move by saying, We don't need something perfect. What we need right now is a safe place to land, where we can heal and renew, where we can be embraced by a community that will take us in and allow us to figure out what comes next. And that's who you have been for us and continue to be, and we are forever grateful. I'm here because Anson received that kidney transplant and has fully recovered, so much so that within months of his transplant, Hannah gave birth to our first granddaughter, Nelda. And so we now have a whole new reason to stay close to Marilyn. I am not here because I am perfect, because I have it all figured out, because I do not doubt, because I am absolutely certain what my future holds. Indeed, I am here because I am healing and growing and learning and becoming, and because some of you are my best teachers. As you can see, I am here as the product of significant grief and significant joy, intention and serendipity, hard work and privilege, success and failure, call and desire, ideal hopes and practical considerations, warranted and unwarranted judgment, and even more unmerited grace. I am here because through all of this, God's providential love has seen to me and sustained me in more ways than I can name. I am here because God continues to give me the overwhelming opportunity to be a part of His redemptive work in this world, and I don't want to miss out on any of that. I am here because God is still creating and redeeming and sustaining me. I am here because God, the master storyteller, is still weaving all of our stories together into a narrative far bigger and more loving and more gracious than any of us can ever imagine. Thanks be to God. Amen.